Continuing on from our considerations last week on beauty, I want us to try and understand how our appreciation of beauty can actually forge within us faith so that when life takes a turn and we're stuck in hardships, we can still stand and we have the faith resilience to be okay. How does beauty contribute towards that? Well, let's explore that just for a moment. If we are a somewhat healthy, balanced, reflective person, when we experience beauty and when we encounter it in whatever fashion we do, the healthy, instinctive human response is gratitude. We want to thank someone for something. We want to thank God for whatever it is we're experiencing. There's a gratitude that is human and appropriate and healthy when we experience something delightful. For example, a few weeks ago, Teresa and myself and Scott and Lydia went out for a meal to celebrate Scott and Lyd's belated first anniversary, and we had a fantastic dinner. It was just full of surprises and little blessings and delights. And at the end of the meal, we wanted to walk past the kitchen, which we did, and look at the guys that are working there, the chef and the sous chef, and say, guys, great job, well done, 5-star, like you really nailed it. And that felt good and it felt right, and we were doing it because there's something appropriate, that you articulate your thanks and the blessing that you've received. It works not just on a human level when you've had a great meal or experienced great art or whatever it might be. It works at a deeper spiritual level as well. I remember a number of years ago when we had our time in St Andrews, I was walking into town on the particular path that I would always walk. So I'm not on the road, you got this little countryside path where you go over a river and a bridge, and I was walking beside the botanical gardens, and I suddenly became aware of the bird song. It went from being like a background soundtrack to utterly present and so clear and so bright, and I was amazed at this extraordinary chorus that I was enjoying. It was like this choir that was singing me into town and was delighting in just existence. And the deep, instant, instinctive response, completely unrehearsed response, was to say, thank you, God. Thank you that you've made these beautiful little birds that can give me this soundtrack into town, that can sing this chorus, that can worship you somehow. And what an extraordinary privilege it is just to be in this place, in this moment, experiencing this part of creation's wonder. And the right response is to then respond to God with gratitude. Because what prayer is really is responsive speech. It is putting words and voice and thought and emotion to the wonders that we're enjoying, the delights of the beauty that we're experiencing. It's appropriate and it's right and it's good. And what it does, and this is the key part, what it does is it exercises our faith in a very particular way that grows, as it were, this muscle. It strengthens the foundation of our faith. It invites us and keeps us in this conversation with God about His grace that has found our lives in some particular way, and it puts words and voice to that. It is responsive speech to the grace of God in our lives, and it forges faith so that when life takes a turn and when hardships come and we're hit with struggles or sufferings or disappointments or some sort of obstacle that is excruciating, we don't have to invent our faith. We don't have to invent our conversation with God. It's already in place. Our faith is there. Our conversation is already up and running. And now it has to take a new turn. And it goes from maybe thanking God for the loveliness of the things we're enjoying to encountering God with the struggles that we're facing, with the obstacles. And so there's these two dimensions, as it were, to the conversation. One is gratitude for the food that we enjoy and the delights that we have and God's grace upon our lives. And the other one is trying to put voice to our frustration and our desire and our sadness and our angst and our fear in light of whatever it is that we're also facing. So the conversation doesn't have to be, as it were, invented out of fresh air. It's already up and running. Our responsive speech has a daily rhythm to it. when it is cued by, you could say triggered by, the beauty that we absorb around us and that we receive day by day in the tiniest things and in the great grandeur of creation. So an awareness of beauty helps us establish our conversation, our faith, our vocabulary, our speech, our voice that goes toward God. And that is part of the ground zero of our faith being healthy and vital and realized. So, believing in God through beauty and then instinctively connecting with God through gratitude is actually a real human experience, and it is very good for us, and it puts the deep building blocks in place in our lives, in our conscious and in our subconscious, so that when, as I said, the storm clouds gather and crash, we're already up and running, and we're already standing with the right muscles being somewhat developed. So hopefully that gives us motivation to be attentive and responsive to the loveliness of life, so that when the hardships are there, there is something that's already up and running. Okay, till next time, take care. Peace.